Hello and welcome to Hacking Self Storage. So today I have a fantastic interview. I know I said that about every guest, and I truly, genuinely love and appreciate speaking to people, and I do get so much value out of it. But today's been no different as well. We've had Jo Moon on the podcast. She runs two self-storage facilities, one in Totnes and one in Dartmouth as well. And there's some absolute nuggets. As soon as I finish the recording, I didn't actually do this intro. I actually had to do something that she suggested. It's something called 20CI, but we'll get into it later in the podcast, and you guys will know what I'm talking about, because I literally stopped what I'm doing. I'm like, whoa. I need to get back into that. What did you say? What did you mean? How do I get in contact with them? And it was just brilliant. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you, Jo, for your time. I really appreciated it. And I know you guys are going to get a load out of it as well, just like I did. So without any further ado, here is Jo Moon. Thank you again, Jo. Jo Moon, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me, Dean. It's a real honour. Thank you. I love your podcast, and I love what you're doing with the industry. It's great.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So, Jo, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in the industry.
Okay, so I'm General Manager at South Hams Self Storage Limited. We've got two facilities in Devon, in lovely South Devon. So one in Dartmouth, which is a sailing town, and the other one is in Totnes, which is the capital town of the South Hams. I'm proud mum, two boys, Charlie, who's in his first year at uni. He's studying biology, and Will, who's in his GCSE year. So things are a bit weird at home at the moment.
Yeah, I bet they are. And we've got two boys as well, but as a 4 and 6, and we're homeschooling for 2 days, and they're at school for 3 days. So yeah, it's definitely a change to what we used to.
Well, at least I'm not having to homeschool. I'm really sort of making sure that the Xbox isn't going on in the middle of the day, but it's quite nice actually, because I work from home 2 days a week, so I get a nice mix. So I'm not leaving him on his own all week, but it's nice just to be here and make sure he's supported and drinking and eating properly. So that's nice.
Yeah, I've got to say, I came home at 4:30 the other day when my wife was homeschooling on Wednesday, and she had a glass of wine in her hand. It'd been a tough day.
I can imagine that is really quite a challenge. Yeah, I think we're in a fairly good place actually. But it's a shame for them. It's a shame for my eldest being at uni. It's difficult for them. Yeah,
it really is. So, Jo, how did you get in the self-storage industry?
Well, I love it when you ask this question, because everybody does it differently, don't they? So my partner, Mark, he was an offshore sailor for many years, spent a lot of time in the US and used self-storage over there, of course, which is obviously huge over there. When he came back to Devon, he thought it would be a good idea to invest in commercial property. So he bought the site in Dartmouth, and then started researching self-storage in the UK. So then you'll be interested in this, Dean. I owned my own restaurant at the time.
Oh no.
And taught management and hospitality apprenticeships as well. But he said, well, come with me. We went to see the sites. We went to see Janus Steel Storage, as it was then, went to their factory. Really exciting. Everyone was so welcoming. It was really nice. So we put a business proposal together. And one day Mark turned around to me and said, well, I think we need to go ahead with this. It sounds great, but we need someone to run it. So it had better be you. So I'm always up for a challenge. Sold the restaurant, said yes. And 2 months later, found myself at the SSA conference in Stockholm, meeting some amazing people.
Yeah, excellent. What was your experience like in the restaurant industry?
It's tough, isn't it? It's really tough. I mean, you're not going to make a fortune in it. It was a small sort of tea room restaurant in Totnes, and I was in it for a long time, far too long, and lost motivation completely. So I was looking for something new. I really didn't enjoy it. But I like the people, and I think that, you're learning skills in those industries that you're taking forward into the storage industry for sure. I mean, you've got to like people, and being actually in there working in the restaurant I really like the buzz. I did not like the ordering and the dealing with staff, and I didn't enjoy that part of it at all.
Yeah, I've got to say it was for those of you who don't know, I used to have a restaurant, and it was the worst 18 months of my life. But I've got to say it's the 18 months when I actually learned the most about myself, about business, and it's definitely changed me. I don't regret it at all now, but I've got to say going through it was a really, really difficult time, and yeah, it's definitely different to the self-storage industry. So in terms of, since you've been started then, has it been a straight line to success, or has there been moments and times where you've questioned the decision?
We've never questioned the decision. I'm not sure about a straight line to success, but we've been in growth since we started. So we opened Dartmouth Self Storage in January 2015, and within, well, it was quite funny because Adrian Starling from Steel Storage, as it was then, came down and said, we said, we're tiny, you know, are you okay? Can you do this fit out for us? And he said, yes, because I'll be back, and I'll be back within a few months. And we just didn't know anything about the business. And he was absolutely right. Within 3 months, we were knocking on his door saying, please, we need more storage. And we did 4 phases in Dartmouth. And then in 2018, we found the site for Totnes. And that is a fantastic site. It's on an industrial estate opposite the recycling centre. So we've got queues of people outside all the time waiting to get into the tip. And that's a great site. So we opened that in January 19.
Wow, January 19.
January 19, and we've just finished our 3rd phase.
Yep.
So being in growth every single year, it's been a bit head-breaking actually, but I've realised that's how it is. That's the model, and that's what you do. You know, you put the structure in, you start to fill it up, you get to about 75%, and then you think, I don't want to be turning customers away.
Yeah, absolutely. So which one's your biggest facility then, Joe?
Totnes.
Totnes. Yeah, and how much square foot is that one?
So we've got 25,000 square foot there.
Wow. And what about Dartmouth?
Dartmouth is 13,000, so it's a much smaller site, smaller town.
Yeah. And how far away are they from each other as well?
About 8 miles.
Yeah, brilliant. And did it take you a long time to find the first location and then find the second location?
Well, the first location we didn't buy for a self-storage site, but Mark just bought it because he wanted to buy some commercial property.
Wow.
And so we kind of made it fit, really. We wanted to do something with this site, and we thought self-storage was the industry to be in. So that was kind of the tester site, if you like. Totnes just didn't even come on the market. And we've been looking for sites. We're still looking for our 3rd site, you know, really want to grow. So
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. It really is an exciting journey as well when you get the foundations and then you really want to start growing as well. I think it's such an incredible industry. How has COVID affected you during these times? Because obviously opening in 2019, Totnes, obviously only been a year old when COVID hit. I bet it was scary.
it was scary. We had staff who were off sick. She didn't have COVID, and then somebody else who was on holiday when it all happened. And that was a really, really difficult time, actually. So it was just me and Mark in the office saying, okay, what do we do now? How do we get through this? And I think it's made us stronger.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, I know everybody can now do e-signing, but that for us was amazing because we had so many people moving down from up country who, you know, wanted to, you know, you had to send the contracts by post, and you had to scan things in all the time. It was an absolute pain, really. So getting e-signing was just fantastic for us. Also, you know, doing payments online. It's just been great. Oh, setting up TeamViewer so that staff can work remotely, improving our VoIP systems. That's worked really well. And we can all work from home, and it sounds like we're there in the office. Yeah. I think that's been great. But business-wise, yeah, really, really busy. So many people relocating to Devon. So many people who are selling massive properties in the southeast, moving down to Devon because either they've got second homes or they want to find somewhere to live down here. And what they're doing is they're putting their stuff into storage, and they're finding it very difficult to find a property or somewhere to buy or somewhere to let. And they're still in storage with us, which has worked really well.
Yeah, Devon is an absolute beautiful place. We're planning on going for a 2-week holiday, just traveling around Devon in the summer.
Yeah.
We're really looking forward to it. So during COVID, the initial COVID lockdown, did you actually shut down and work remotely?
No, we didn't actually. I know you did, didn't you?
I
But
did. It was a mistake. Yeah.
yeah, we really felt we needed to be on site. We didn't want to have any other staff in, so we only had one member of staff in the office, or it was me and
Yeah.
Mark. And we felt that that was really important. I think it's just, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it was so unknown. But I think each consequent lockdown, we've learned more, and
Yeah.
we've settled into it. We're not so frightened of it now. We know that we can all work from home. We know that business is going to carry on. So it's it has been a huge learning curve. But God, what a shock! But for business wise, it didn't really affect us. We didn't really get any move outs. We very quickly spoke to all our customers, and if anybody had difficulties, we spoke to all of those individually. We made sure that everyone was comfortable. We offered payment plans, but we didn't have to do as much of it as I thought we would.
Yeah, it was really surprising, wasn't it? I know that I definitely made a big mistake because we completely shut up and played defense, and that is so unlike me, and it's so frustrating looking back. But the reason I did it was because I wasn't comfortable. I didn't know what it was going to be like, COVID, and the models were suggesting however many people were going to die. And don't get me wrong, it's been bad, and I didn't feel comfortable if somebody was asking me to go to work. So I thought it'd be best if we just work from home, fellow the staff kind of thing, and diverted the calls to our home. And yeah, it was obviously, with hindsight, it was a incorrect decision, and we lost nearly 10,000 square foot. I think it was about 8,000 square foot that we lost.
Wow.
During that time, because we didn't have any move-ins and we had move-outs. We didn't have as many problem payers as we expected, but it was a real jolt to the system. And obviously, as soon as we saw that the models wasn't quite as bad as first thought, we opened back up again, and we quickly we had our best year ever. But yeah, the first lockdown, it was a really worrying time during it, because we were just losing square foot every single week. What do you expect 2021 to be like then? I know it's like a question that nobody can really answer, but I'm quite bullish about it.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm with Dave Davis on this. I think play it by ear, check your stats, which I'm a huge fan of, and react accordingly. We did hold off doing our next phase actually after the first lockdown.
Yeah.
And that might have been a mistake, because we did start to get to a situation where we actually hadn't got enough to offer people, and we didn't want to be in that situation really, because I think you can flatline then, can't you?
Yep, of course.
So that for me was quite a stressful time, because once lockdown had lifted and we got all the inquiries, I hadn't got anywhere to put them. So yeah, we went ahead, did our phase 3, that's filling up. So I expect it to be good. Yeah, I don't expect it to be any major issues. And I think we'll ride the storm if it happens again.
Yeah, exactly. So has January started well for you guys?
Very well. Yeah, absolutely. But we're hardly having any move outs, and it's all move ins, and it's lots of different people. It's not just moving people who are moving house. It's people who are decluttering, people who really want to spend time on the house. They're renovating. We've got a lot of that going on, and businesses too.
We're just so lucky, Joe, to be in this industry where it's not affected. In fact, if anything, it's actually boomed during this. I mean, as you probably know, my sisters are in the wedding industry, and it's been an absolute nightmare for them. And I just speak to them on an evening. Yeah, and I just feel so lucky and blessed.
Yeah, and living where we are very, very lucky. We've got a great business. We've got a great outdoor life. We are super lucky.
Yep. Do you currently have any offers then at the minute? Do you do 4 weeks half price, or do you know?
We don't, and we have never done offers.
Wow, that is fantastic. Beverly doesn't do any offers, but Stormore, we have to.
Well, we're in a very small place here. It's very rural, and we don't really have any competition. So the competition that we have is containers. So we are the first of our kind in the area. And because of that, we haven't felt that we've needed to match anybody. We haven't had to match armadillos, first 8 weeks off. And we felt that we set our stall out as a premium product. It's a really good quality product, and we've kept it at that. We just felt that discounting wouldn't help that image that we want to project. So we've never done it.
Do you know what? I absolutely love that, because I've just interviewed a guy called Richard, and he's just coming into the industry, and he said exactly the same thing, that he's not going to do any offers as well, because he doesn't want to project that image of discounting, because he doesn't feel like he needs to. And I love the way that you if you don't need to, then you shouldn't feel the need to do it just because. And at Beverley, we don't do it, but at Stormore, it's a lot more. We've got self storages around us that are your first month for £1, etc., and then obviously Armadillo. So we feel that we have to. Although I've got to say, it's something that we're going to trial, not doing any offers as well, and see how that goes. And it's like your price increases. You're always scared first of all, but you never know until you take that leap of faith.
Oh, those price increases were very, very frightening first time. I went to a training, Dave Davies training, and he went around the room and said, when was the last time you did a price increase? And I was like, I've never done one. I think it was about 3 years in, because we were in growth. So we thought, well, we've got more space to let, so we don't want to be putting people off. It doesn't work like that, does it? It's an amazing thing that you put your price increases on, and not one person has said anything about the rack rate at all, ever. And I've had about 3 people, and the first time I did it, I had about 3 people who sent me an email. I had to do one deal and drop it back down again to 5% increase. And it's all bottom line, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah,
Price
it is.
increases are so important.
Yeah, it's revenue management. You've got an obligation, I believe, to do it. And so, how much do you increase your prices by?
10%.
Yeah, and you only had 3 pushbacks, and one of them you went down to 5%.
And one dropped back down to 5%, and that's why it needs to be 10%. And it's quite a frightening thing to do. I put it off and I put it off, but when I did it, I felt so much better. And now we do it on a rolling program, so we do it on the year anniversary.
Yeah.
But our rack rates are slightly higher, so.
Yeah, that's excellent. And do you display prices on your website? I already know the answer to this, so I'm interested to
yes,
delve
we
deeper.
do. I think because we're a new type of self-storage facility in the area, I think it's important that people can see that it is affordable and it's accessible. But we also want to be open and transparent. I don't want to have any barriers to that information. I think if people are looking at the site, they're already, and they've got as far as the how much does it cost, I think they're already interested in storage. I know some people do, they ask for an email address, but I just think it's, get that information out there and, get them to give us a call. Make sure that you've got all the call to actions on the website, doing it like that.
Yeah, I've got to say as well, I did message you on LinkedIn last night saying how nice your website was. And I really do, I genuinely, I mentioned it on the call prior as well, that it just has a really nice feel to it as well. I don't know where that feel comes from or how you actually
so nice.
insert that, but it really does. And one of the reasons I love doing this podcast is to ask that question as well, because I am sure that more and more people, as this industry gets more recognized, I do believe it will be showing prices on our website. And at the minute, I still hide my prices behind an email opt-in. And so, not an opt-in, but an email address. You give us your email address, and we can give you the prices, kind of thing. Do you think it's maybe because you can do it and you don't get much pushback because there's not much competition around you?
Exactly that. I think that makes a huge difference. Yeah, I think it really does. I mean, we've got an Armadillo about 10 miles away. But they're in a major conurbation. It's in Torquay, so it's much bigger, and we don't really tread on each other's toes at all. So I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, and where do you advertise? Where do the majority of your quotes come from?
The majority of my quotes come from Google, of course, but I know it's actually slightly different for each site. So Totnes, the next biggest amount that we get is signage, because we've got a big site. We've got a really great yellow fence all the way around the site, and really big sign. It looks really nice reception, so it's very visible. Dartmouth is in the middle of an industrial estate, so not quite as visible, but so we advertise. We do radio advertising, so it's local. It is very different where we are. It's rural, so it's a small town. People talk, so we do a lot of networking. Social media, We've also we do extra things. We advertise in the local papers. There's magazines that go out every month that are free magazines to people. We do all of those. And we do, from time to time, I do postcards, which is with a company called 20CI. And you can send those out at different price points. So when it goes up for sale, or 10 weeks after the property's, the sale has gone through. And, you know, you're gathering that information and contacting that customer, you know, at the time that they might want to declutter, or the time that, you know, maybe the sale has fallen through. That's another price point that they've just come up with. And we're just monitoring that at the moment to see how successful that's going to be.
Whoa, I'm gonna have to go back on this. What's that company you use? I think
it's called 20CI.
20CI.
So they garner all the information from things like Rightmove, all of those, and they send us a spreadsheet every week. We buy that information, but they send the postcard out for us, and they're tailored. It depends on which price point, which moving point we're using. So if it's fall throughs, we might send a postcard that says, you know, come to us, use the storage, because, you know, we can solve your issue for you. Or if it's a price point, a sale point earlier on, they're decluttering, we send a different postcard that says, you know, we've got smaller units, which are £20, you know, for the small unit. We can tailor it to the
Yeah, I tell you, this is fantastic, Joe. This is why I love doing this podcast. If I'm honest, I've had it on my list to do for probably 12 months to do something with when a house comes on Rightmove, and if it's a certain mileage away from the site, and I've just never ever got around to doing it.
These guys do it all for you. It's so easy. I had the postcard designed, and they just send it out, so you're not having to do anything at all. And it's really easy because you get a spreadsheet. It's really easy to check, you know, how successful it is. So you can just match it to what your inquiries or your move-ins.
How did you hear about this, Joe? This is gold.
SSA.
Did you really? Oh man.
Yeah, I think they went to I think they were at one of the conferences about 3 years ago, and I don't think they've been since.
Yeah. This is why SSA are so valuable. When Dave Davies says how invaluable it is, and I really do believe it as well. I think they're doing an absolutely fantastic
job. They have
job.
been amazing this year, unbelievable. Yeah. And the way that you can access the training now. I mean, I do every single training that comes up, because living in Devon, if I had to go to a training, it's a whole day gone. You've got to travel to Birmingham or wherever. You know, we're in the middle of nowhere here, and to be able to do it all online has been fantastic.
Yeah, the reason why I haven't done it so far, and the reason why it's been put back on my to-do list again, is because I listened to a book the other day, and they said to me, it basically said, are you doing your best? And it was with a rugby team, and this rugby team was, they finished and they won the match like 70-20 rugby union. And the guys go, this is what the manager said. Are you doing, have you done your best today? And they said, Gaffer, we won by 50 points. What do you mean? Of course we did our best. And he goes, no, I didn't ask you if you won. I asked you, did you give your all? Did you do your best? And that really resonated with me, because although we've had a fantastic year, it really it made me look at myself and think, okay, have you done your best? Yes, you've had a good year. Yes, it's been incredible, but have you done your best? And I'm like, no, do you know what? I haven't actually done my best. I know I can do better. And so that's why I started looking at all the ideas that I had, how to generate more quotes. And this is one of the things that got back on my list. So the fact that you mentioned 20CI as well is something that I will 100% be looking at today. So yeah.
But it's so difficult, isn't it? To, you know, you've got all these ideas. I just said to you, and I get into work sometimes, I've listened to your podcast and I kind of had to rush in, make notes as soon as I get in, because they're great ideas, and then, you know, the day gets in the way, doesn't it? We are so busy, you know, we're just so busy running the business to run the business sometimes. And I find that quite a challenge. I don't know where you get your energy from. You're unbelievable.
I'm very, very lucky that I have an amazing team. So I don't actually have to do any of the day-to-day running. So we've got an amazing team behind me. And so I couldn't do what I do without them guys. And so most of my time is trying to think about ways to expand the business. So it's through they're amazing. The guys behind me are absolutely fantastic.
I've got a brilliant team too. I probably work in the business about 20%, you know, operationally.
Yeah.
The rest of it is management. But I think that contact time on reception, especially when it happened with COVID, and I had to be on reception, it's invaluable because you can see some of the systems you've set up are not working quite as well as they should, and you can always improve and you make it better for your team.
Yeah, the key for me is automation as well. We've just automated the daily figures that they send me, and it normally takes them.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, if anybody's interested, I can share this automation with you. We had to pay a space manager £1,000 to automate it for us, but
Wow.
but it saves 15 minutes every evening. And James actually rang me up yesterday and said, Dean, I just want to say thank you for doing the automation. It's just made my life so much easier. I get off, nearly on time now, where before I had to check the figures, go through the figures, make sure they was correct, double check them, and then send them to you. And it would take 15 minutes just to input the details, and then you've got to check them again. And so it saved my team probably 20 minutes a day. But not only that, we know they're always right. And so we've automated the daily figures, and now the next job that Space Manager on with is automating the weekly figures as well. So anything that is done more than once, then I'm a great believer in that. Yes, it might take more time up front, but if we can automate it, then you are actually investing in your future. You're investing, you're saving time. So for me, it's a big investment. And that's been one of the big things that we do. Price increases, we automate them as well. Space Manager just gives us a list of all, automatically a list is sent to me, and it's all automatically filled in when it's going to be sent, who by who, on what date. And I just got to check the actual amounts just to make sure that I'm okay with the amounts and who it's being sent to, and then that's it. So yeah, I'm a great believer in automation.
Is that something else that you've had done bespoke, or is that something that they do?
Yeah, no, we've had it done bespoke as well.
Right, okay.
But I believe that Dave Davies has asked me if he could have it off me as well to offer to his clients. And so if you need it, Joe, just let me know and I'll send a message to Angela.
Yes, anything that makes life easier, you're absolutely right, because you're doing the same things day in, day out, aren't you? And I'm a big one, as you say, for automation. So
yeah. So I'll definitely get in touch with Angela and just ask her to put you in touch with them. And it's just a report now that they have, so it should be easy for them to export it to your. Is it Space Manager you use, by the way?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. I love Space Manager.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? So radio advertising, then, how does that do for you? Then is that good?
Well, I think it's brand awareness, isn't it? We've just changed to from one local company to another, just to sort of bring the changes. I think it's you've got to have a multi-layered approach, really, because people need to keep seeing you, keep hearing you, and I think it's really important for brand awareness. And we are, it really has made a difference. I was just looking at the figures this morning, actually, for Dartmouth, and word of mouth there is actually next from Google inquiries. So I think, when you've been in an area a little while, that people are all talking about you, and I think that's fantastic. So you've got to keep it out there, haven't you? You've got to keep that brand out there. So radio, I think, works really well for us.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, I'm a massive believer in word of mouth and recommendations from people who have been customers, before, and customers coming back as well. Our latest figures are suggesting that 25% of our customers are either coming back or coming from word of mouth, which is really incredible. 25% of your move-ins.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah,
I just think it's so important to make sure that we're on top of customer care, and it's almost like an investment. So that's the way I look at it. It's an investment in people, and also it makes your day better as well. If you've got a great relationship with all your customers, then it just makes it more enjoyable being at work.
It's great. The customers are lovely, aren't they? They're what makes it, really. And it's really nice because you know that you're helping somebody at a really difficult time in their lives, and that makes you feel nice too. I think it's great for the team to feel that they are actually doing something to support people, especially with what's going on at the moment. I think it's been great. But when you're talking about customer care as well, I was listening to your podcast with, is it Tron? What's
Travis?
Tron,
Tron from America.
Well, it was Tron, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, I was listening to it a couple of weeks ago. I always listen back to them. I'm a bit of a geek, actually.
He's a great guy, by the way.
He was saying that the point at which people, we do lots of people who are moving in and lots of, getting to know them and really talking them through it. And yes, we can help you with the move and all of that. but we're not so good at when they move out. That's the point at which they've last had contact with you.
Yeah.
So we're going to change the way we're going to do things there now, and make sure that we are, sending emails out to customers, and maybe sending a card out. I know you send cards out. I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, it's one of my jobs today, to send out to do a month's worth of move-ins. But yeah, I think you're right as well. And I've just started to re-listen to the interviews, because there is really some gold there. Because collectively, it's over 100 years of experience that we're talking to, and it's incredible.
Well, for sure, adding on to that. But yeah, it is. You've got to have a notebook, and that's the thing. When I listen to them when I'm driving in, and as soon as I get in, I've got to write it all down before I forget. There's some really good stuff out there, Dean. You're doing a brilliant job.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, we couldn't do it without people like yourself and stuff. So it's fantastic. And Tron is such a nice guy as well. And he invited me to the Hawaiian Self Storage conference that he runs. I mean, what a place to go for a conference.
Yeah. Oh, that was October, wasn't it?
Yeah. It'll be fantastic to go. So what key performance indicators do you look at then, Joe?
Well, the usual ones: occupancy, of course, weekly revenue. I think it's really important to check net movement, and so that I can spot the trends. So, it's seasonal fluctuations, and I've noticed that it is different from Dartmouth to Totnes.
Wow.
And I think from there I can decide what advertising I'm going to be doing, and making sure my advertising is targeted at the right times.
Yeah.
Inquiries and conversions. That it's there's no. It's not rocket science, is it? It's just those key performance indicators that tell you where you are.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I love looking at it. I wait at 6 o'clock when we show. I get an email pinged across, and I geek out on it. My wife's like, "You've got the email, haven't you?" And there I am for 5 minutes looking at it. And then Sundays at 4 o'clock we close. So I'm waiting for James for the weekly figures.
Yeah, I have to be honest, Dean. I don't do the daily, but then I'm generally on site anyway, so I've kind of got a feel for what's going on. But I think daily I might just move to that.
Yeah,
going to be popular in my staff now.
I just enjoy it. I really enjoy it. And then the great thing is, if there's a mistake somewhere, you can pick up on it really quickly. Whereas if there's a mistake in the weekly or monthly, you've got to go back over. Harder to find.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it does save a bit of time. And I know
Space Manager is great for that, isn't it? It really, you can do so much with that information. Sometimes it's finding it, mining that information really from Space Manager, but it works really well.
Yeah, and I know I'm definitely overkill, but I do enjoy it. I really do enjoy looking at the KPIs and stuff, and planning out where we should go and stuff. So if a storage owner, Joe, asks you for one bit of advice, what would you say?
Okay, well, I think if someone was new to the industry, you said quite a lot of people who are thinking of coming into the industry listen to the podcast. I would say join the SSA. Yeah, that's the first thing you should do. When I went to that conference in Stockholm, it was incredible. I was in the bar with a notebook because everyone was sharing information and being so welcoming. It's an unbelievable network, and I think that's really important. And also, I think it gives you that kudos, your professional kudos.
Yes,
I think it's really important to be professional. So that's the first one. But if somebody's operating now, definitely don't be afraid to put your prices up.
Yeah, great bit of advice. In terms of sales process, have you got one tip that you use to improve your sales process?
Space Manager again. Use it to improve your CRM. Make sure that you're creating contact points that are personal to the customer at the right time, and make it personal and make notes. We always do. We make as many notes as we possibly can. Things that are totally irrelevant. Things that the customer's told you, so that the next person who's picking it up knows the background, and they know what has made that customer light up, or they might know that the customer's mum's just died. I think it's really important. The more CRM you have, the more successful your customer service is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that as well. We try to make personal notes as well, and I actually got that from my hairdresser friend of mine, who he's not a hairdresser himself, but him and his wife run a hairdressers. And what he said is, when his staff cut hair for 20 minutes, their target is to get 2 new bits of information and put it on their customer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And And that was fantastic, whether it might be an engagement or the mums, just something to take note of. And then what they do is they make sure that before they come in, they spend 5 minutes looking at the customer's notes, just then to have some sort of connection with that customer and to really let the customer know that they've listened to them and really heard what they've said last time they've come in. And I thought that was...
Yeah,
I thought that
you've got it all there, haven't you? We use store logics as well. So obviously, as soon as the customer walks into the store, it flashes up on the screen, and we know who's just walked in, and we can go out and say, "Hi, Mrs. Smith. How's it going? How are the dogs?" And I think people love that.
Yeah,
and it's so easy.
And that's what makes you different to other people.
Yeah, exactly. I think it works really well.
Yep. And insurance, I see that most customers, when they come in, have to have insurance. And you've said it in such a polite way, and I'll read it from what I've got on your website. If your cover isn't significant, then the insurers will apply an average. I'm a massive believer in this as well. So can you just explain this a little bit more, what you mean by will apply an average?
Okay, so if a customer has declared their goods at a certain value and they've under-declared the value of the goods, then if they make a claim, the payout will be reduced by the same percentage to which they've under-declared the value of the goods. So if they've said it was, say, I don't know, 10,000 value of goods, and then during the claim process it's been discovered that it was 20,000, then obviously they have undervalued it by 50%, and the payout will be undervalued by 50%. That's standard clause with insurance companies, and we use Basil Fry, and that they give us all the documentation for that.
Again, that is something that is absolutely fantastic. I didn't actually know that. And so you learn something all the time, and I've absolutely loved this conversation. This is fantastic. Yes, I didn't actually know that, but the way you put it across as well on your website is fantastic.
Oh, that's really good to hear. Who do you use for your insurance?
I don't actually know the honest answer to that is. I know we've just changed because the policy went up because we had a number of claims, and so we've changed it, and I don't actually know who the person is at the minute. So okay. Sorry, I can't. I'll leave that to Angela.
Well, we think, using somebody like Basil Fry, who is, a self-storage expert, I think has just been amazing. Actually, I'll tell you a funny story about that, about how I chose which insurance company to go with.
Yeah.
So when I went to Stockholm, and I was deciding which suppliers, who was going to build the mezzanine, do all of that, and obviously we needed to find someone to offer the insurance. And because it was Stockholm, obviously they had an ABBA band, a tribute band, and the two insurance guys had a dance off.
No way.
The lovely Pete Damon just had the edge, and so that with Basil Fry.
That is incredible. Yeah, and if you could pick up the phone to a 20-year or a 10-year younger version of yourself, Joe, just when you were starting in self-storage, I know you weren't quite starting then, but what is something that you know now but didn't know then? What would you tell yourself? What advice would you give your younger self?
I've got to be boring, actually, Dean, and go back to increasing prices.
Yeah.
For 3 years we didn't increase any prices, and to now see and do my projections, 5-year projections, and see that price increase going through. I wish we'd done it earlier.
Yeah. Do you increase your street rates as well?
Yeah, we have done, but but that's not something that I don't have a formal time at which I'm going to increase it. I have just done it, and I put it up by 15%. So I'm just going to see how that works out. As I said to you earlier, I've had no kickback from that. So I'm just looking at when we're going to be able to do it again.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what I am doing. I've been attending the dynamic pricing training and things. I've started putting up the prices of all the ground floor units.
Yeah.
So we're doing a global price increase on Space Manager.
Yeah, dynamic pricing is something that I feel like that everybody should do, and even to the extent where, I mean, we don't do this yet, but it's something we're definitely looking at, is that the units at the back of the facility have got to be worth less than the units at the front of the facility. So, or pay a premium for the ones that are closest to the lift or the doors. So it's something that we're looking at in the future. We've got a first floor price and the ground floor price at the minute, but we want to maybe just take it that one step further.
I think it's a difference between a standard and a premium unit, probably. I mean, that so that you've just got that one price. That's what I've been struggling with a little bit, because I've got one price on the website, and I always think when you start saying from, and people think, oh yeah. So it's a difficult one, isn't it? But there is another training in a couple of weeks, so I will be picking Dave Davis's brains and asking him how we deal with all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had that problem as well, because we have a standard price and a premium price, and we actually show both on our website.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, we show both. And then the biggest question that we got is, what's the difference? So we actually put a note at the bottom now, just to make sure we're answering the customer's questions. What is the difference between a standard and a premium?
Okay, great. I'll look at that. Thanks, Dean.
Yeah, and Joe, from a personal point of view as well, when I had COVID, I want to say that I really appreciate it, because you was one of the people who actually got in contact with me and asked if everything was okay, because I just went dark for 10 days. I didn't do a podcast.
Yes, worried about you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I thought you might have been poorly.
Yeah, the family got COVID, and the wife got it first of all. Mum and dad got it first of all, and they passed it on to my wife, and then the wife gave it to my 6-year-old son. And somewhere along the line, I got it, and but luckily, thank goodness, everybody's okay. So I just went dark. So from a personal point of view, I just want to say thank you very much for checking in.
You're welcome.
And so I'm just going to finish up with a quick fire round, 5 questions for fun. What's the best advice you have ever received?
Choose your attitude.
Oh,
that's from, you've got to write this lady's name down, Deborah Searle. So she gave a talk at an SSA conference about 3 years ago. And you can change what's going on around you. You can't change what's going on around you, but you can change your attitude to it. So, keep smiling and keep up.
Oh, I love that one. That's brilliant. And what's a daily habit that contributes to your success?
Getting up early. I get up an hour earlier than I need to every single day. Get up at 6, and I either meditate, exercise, journal, and that means that I arrive at work in a good frame of mind.
Oh, I'm with you all day long on that. That's exactly what I do. I exercise and meditate.
It's made a huge difference. Yeah.
I just feel it sets you up for success. Yeah, I do. Yep. I use my Headspace.
Yes, I love my Headspace. Love Andy.
Yeah, Andy exactly. Yeah. And can you recommend one book?
Yes, How to Own the Room by a lady called Viv Groskut.
How to Own the Room. And we'll put a link to this book as well in the show notes, How to Own the Room. And what scares you?
Stepping stones.
Stepping stones?
Yes, apparently. We went out on a walk on Dartmoor, and I just completely froze in the middle of the stepping stones and had to be rescued. It was pretty traumatic. So I don't know whether something's happened in my childhood, but stepping stones, it freaks me out.
Wow, these are the best answers I've ever had on this. I've done so many interviews before on another podcast as well, and I do these 5 questions for fun, and these are brilliant. If I ask 5 of your closest friends what your superpower is, what would they say?
I think they would say that I keep my head in a crisis. I'm pretty level-headed in a crisis. That's
excellent. And if people wanted to find out more about you, Joe, where would they go?
So my email's joe@indoorselfstorage.co.uk, and I'm also on LinkedIn, but there's lots of numbers after that one, so I don't know it.
No problem. We'll put a link to both of those in the show notes as well. So, Joe, all that's left to say is thank you so much for coming on. I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I appreciate your time and appreciate you coming on.
Lovely. Thank you, Dean. Thank you.